everything tonight, just you and me together for about 3 hours. So, just you and me. We did have other acts booked, but they've let me down. I had a contortionist booked tonight, Bendy Wendy. You might know her tonight. It wasn't her, it was Loose Linda. That's the Bendy Wendy, his wife's not happy. Bendy Wendy, she won't be here. She's fallen on hard times, ladies and gentlemen. And apparently she's finding it difficult to make ends meet, so that's a shame. So, ladies and gentlemen, if I can fit, I'm really not waiting for you. If I can fit all this in, we were going to have a ventriloquist, but unfortunately he got lockjaw during his show the other night and didn't realise till he finished. We did have a mime act who was going to perform. I wasn't then in command, he wouldn't do a sound check. Do you know, this is quite sad. When a performer comes out, he wants to give you good news. Ladies and gentlemen, the opening act, the only one of its kind on the high seas, Edmundo, the singing pony. You've probably seen it on TV. We kept him downstairs for the whole cruise. We've been giving him carrots and everything. He loves it. With whiskey. Unfortunately, he died. The singing pony, Edmundo, died of a serious cold. We didn't realise. We just thought he was a little horse. I don't care. So, it doesn't matter. Checks in the bank. I'm going to miss you, ladies and gentlemen, if I don't aim properly. Because there are people here that still don't get what I do. No, it's been a really enjoyable cruise. I'll be honest, there's quite a few of you I like. And, well, we're all going home. And when I say home, I don't mean Exeter, just bear with me. I've never been able to do this. Oh, I still can't. I'm from Exeter. I don't live there anymore. I used to. I lived there all my life, really. Then I got on the wrong bus one day. Now I live in Banbury. I know, I got off, I thought, I'm here now, I may as well stay. And, you know, it was convenient, because my wife lives there. Well, occasionally, look at the back, why don't he just sing? Occasionally, I go back to relax now, she wants me. Occasionally, look at me teasing that lady. Just checking the bulb here. She's only here for the crack. Ladies and gentlemen, please, what's wrong with you? Well, you've upset a lot of people by laughing at stuff like that. Occasionally, I could have been a dancer, but I didn't. Do you know why? Can't dance. Occasionally, I go back to Exeter to visit my family, ladies and gentlemen, and they're very pleased to see me there because I'm quite a successful performer. And it's very, I don't know if you know much about show business, ladies and gentlemen, but it's very tough to get it. I've got a friend, he's called Eric. And he's got a wonderful act, but he couldn't get any work in the United Kingdom, so he flew to America. You know, you got to keep going, past flipping Wales, keep going. And he got to Vegas, and he calls himself the Great Hercules, and he thought, I'm going for it. And he managed to get an audition in an office of a big agent in Las Vegas. And the guy said, what do you do? He said, I'm called the Great Hercules from Honiton. Thank God you weren't there, you'd have spoiled it for me. And the guy said, what do you do in an American accent? He said, well, I've got the most unusual act in the world. He said, okay, Great Hercules, what do you do? He said, my friend, my assistant, George assistant, goes up the stepladder here, and he has a stainless steel mallet. And when I say, no! He hits me over the head with a stainless steel mallet. No one in the world does this. He said, and I just stand there as the mallet hits me. He said, you won't see anyone else do that. And the bloke said, well, it sounds dangerous to me. He said, trust me, I'm the Great Hercules from Honiton. He said, well, do it then. And he said, assistant, up you go. In the office in Las Vegas. Are you ready? Stainless steel. On his head. He's out cold. Blood everywhere. I've never seen half his head hanging off. And they took him straight to the hospital, and the agent's feeling terrible. He's going to die. He's sure he's going to die, and it's his fault because he said, yes, you can do it. Oh my God. He's at his bedside for 5 weeks. Nothing. Bloke's gone. Nothing there. He's just about to leave, thinking, I'm going to get done for this. Just as he leaves, the great Hercules from Honiton opens one eye like this. I can't do that thing. And he sees the agent there. Great Hercules sees the agent, and he thinks quickly, and he goes, ta-da! So, I do about 50% of your seats. There's a lot of people out there saying, I saw him the other night, I thought I'd give him another chance. 5 minutes. So, occasionally, I go back to Exeter, and the other day I took the train from Banbury to Exeter, and I was tired, I was exhausted. I had just flown back from America, or Yeovil, somewhere like that, and I was exhausted. So I fell asleep on the train, and I got to Exeter. I got into a taxi because I'd arranged to meet my cousin Stephen, who used to be a traffic cop, at this pub. So I gave the directions to the taxi driver to the pub. And do you know that one where you don't quite go to 6, but nearly, this one here in the back of the cab like this? Well, during one of them nods, he missed the turning. It could have been my fault, lady there. I could have given the wrong directions. I felt terrible. And I didn't want to upset. Why do people want to upset people? I didn't want to. With respect, I leant through the cab. This is what I did. And gently, I tapped him on the shoulder. He went, ah! His head hit the roof of the cab, swerved the car up onto the path, smashed into the wall. The car's a write-off. I'm in the back like this. I said, what happened? He said, it's my first day as a taxi driver. I said, chill out. Chill out. I said, I only tapped you on the shoulder. He said, I know, but I used to drive a hearse. So it doesn't matter. So now, I've got the check. So I'm walking to the pub to meet my cousin Stephen. I'm just walking along this country lane, really lovely. And I came to the place where I grew up, and just on the edge of where we live, there's an old manor house. I don't know if you know it. It's called the Old Manor House. And I'm walking past there. There's a big fence along the side. I'm just walking down because I'm going, to meet my cousin. I went past an AA van, and the driver was crying, weeping, sobbing. I'm sure he was heading for a breakdown. I kept going, and I got to... Doesn't matter, laugh as quick as you can. I got to the manor house, and there's a fence. I'm walking along the fence, and this old manor house, lots of mystique about it. And I heard this person singing, 21! So, 21! 21, 21, 21. I thought, what's going on? 21, 21, 21. I was worried. 21, 21, 21, 21, 21. I didn't know what was going on. 21, 21. Worried me to death. Anyway, I saw a hole in the fence. I looked through, and someone poked me in the eye and went, 22, 22. So, I'd rather do better jokes than that. And we're very poor, ladies and gentlemen. I think the main problem was lack of money. My dad did everything for us, even the DIY. He did it himself. He wouldn't let anyone else do the DIY. He decided to do it himself. I'll keep going until anyone gets that guy. Do you know that he wasn't very bright? He was a light bulb short of a chandelier. Sorry. He was a hobnob short of a Super Tea-Time biscuit selection. My dad. He was a dog breeder short of a cross reunion meeting. Not very bright. We were the first place in the street, and please don't miss any of this. I could have been a dancer. We were the first place in the street with DIY, with a skylight in the ceiling. What about that? Wow, we were proud. People in the flat upstairs flaming. I know. I just wish they put clothes on in the morning. Well, not very bright. My dad, not very bright. Don't knock him, you don't know him. Let me just tell you the story. One day, made no effort at all. One day I caught him in the bathroom, standing in front of the mirror with his eyes closed. I'll try and replicate that for you. Standing in front of the mirror with his eyes closed. It looked like this. No, that's exactly what it looked like. You're the only two people in the room that got that. Well done. I said, Dad, what are you doing with your eyes closed? He said, I'm trying to see what it looks like when I'm asleep. No, he wasn't right. Listen to this. He thought cellulite was a type of battery. One day, he was filling in a form to the council. You know the council? He's filling in a form. Put his name at the top line, brilliant. Second line, it said sex. He put twice a month. I know. You're not supposed to exaggerate to the council, are you? And on the bottom line, what a lovely crowd you'll be later. On the bottom line, it said, sign here. This is what he put. Sagittarius. I know! Ridiculous! Because he's Gemini. Well, so I carry on walking till I get to the... I don't know if anyone's been to our village, but it's a lovely village. And there's only one school in the village, and all the generations over 150, possibly 200 years, gone to the same school. And it's called the school. So I'm walking past it the other day, and I don't embarrass any ladies, but I went round the back of the school to see if they were still there, the old bicycle sheds. Yes, I thought so. It's where the boys and girls learn how to snog, am I right? Thank you. The bicycle sheds. There were boys and girls learned how to snog, and I can confirm this because I used to watch them. No, well, yes. There was a hole in the fence, I could see it. I could see him going for it. And that fence became quite famous, because in our village, my dad always used to say to me, you youngsters, you think you invented anything? He said, birds and bees, all that stuff's been going on for years. I said, I know that. You know Bert and Elsie I told you about the other night with the glass of wine and the false teeth? Well, she's laughing again. Well, they, on their 60th anniversary, went back to the school, back to that fence, to reenact their courting days. On their 60th, up against the fence. Oh my God. Really hurt. Up against the fence, 60th wedding anniversary. He said, Elsie? She said, yeah. He said, you're better than you were 60 years ago. She said, I know, but the fence wasn't electrified then. He's saying, thank you. I love them. They're our friends. You shouldn't laugh at people just because they're old. You shouldn't do that. They're lovely people, but they're starting to forget things. It's not their fault. And anyone been to Exmouth? That's where we used to go to the beach. And my dad told me about 5 years ago, because they're still active, Bert and everything. And they were down on the beach at Exmouth, and it was really hot. She took her coat off. They were sitting on the beach, coat was off. And he suddenly got up and walked away, and then she said, where are you going? He said, I fancy an ice cream. He didn't ask her. She said, hang on, I'd like an ice cream too. He said, well, I'll go and get 2 ice creams then. She said, but you know what our memory's like? Write it down, because I don't want you to forget. He said, I think I can remember 2 ice creams, 3 syllables, 2 ice cream. So I think I can remember that. She said, okay. She said, before you go, could you get me a chocolate flake? Put in the ice cream. Now make it like $2.99. She said, oh God, yeah, I love chocolate flakes. I'll get 2 of them. She said, write it down in case you think. He said, $2.99, 3 syllables, $2.99. I think I can remember that. She said, before you go, could you get me some strawberry sauce put round the ice cream, because I love strawberry sauce. He said, well, so do I. I'll go and get 2 now. She said, write it down, because I remember. He said, I think I can remember 2.49s with chili sauce. Thank you. She said, she said, before you go, could you get me some chopped nuts to put round the top, because that's lovely. He said, well, I love chopped nuts as well. He said, I'm a fan. I'll go and get 2 of them. She said, you won't remember this. Write it down. He said, please. If I can't remember 269s with Worcester sauce and chopped liver, what's the point? Anyway, she's sitting there, hour and a half. She put her coat back on. Hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes, he came back with a bag of chips. She said, what the hell's that? I said, a bag of chips. She said, you're an idiot. Where's my steak and kidney pie? So, I've been really successful. My mate Dave, who's a couple of years older than me, we used to go to Exmouth. Anyone been to Exmouth? That's where we used to go in the summer, and he used to get all the girls round. He was 2 years older, get all the girls round. And none of the girls were interested in me. I said, David, where am I going wrong? We said, you've got to cheat a bit. I said, well, I wouldn't cheat. He said, well, embellish. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, I stick a pair of rolled-up socks down my trunks. Please. I was naive, I had no idea. I said, why would you do it? He said, the girls like it. I didn't know girls like socks. I didn't know that. No one told me that. Oh my God, he's got socks on. I didn't know that. I didn't know about the socks thing. Sometimes people would put a tape recorder inside the socks, apparently. I wasn't into oral socks, but a lot of people were, apparently. So, I've never done that gag in my life before. But I am very good. So, he said, why don't you stick a rolled up pair of socks down your trunks? I said, well, this is awkward, I haven't got any. He said, well, what have you got? I said, well, I got some flip-flops. He said, well, that won't work. Have you got anything else? I said, well, flipping nothing. I said, well, I've been shopping, I've been down Spar for Mummy. He said, what have you got? I said, well, I got a bottle of tomato sauce. He said, you'll scare them off. Really? I said, it's a squeezy. He went, so, please, you're letting yourselves down. I said, well, that's what I've got. He said, anything? I said, well, I got 5 pound of King Edwards. He said, well, pick the right shaped potato. Certainly wasn't going to mash it, was I? He said, pick the right shaped potato and put it down your trunks. I said, are you sure? He said, yeah, just take the eyes off so they can't see anything. Stick a potato down your trunks. I flipping did it. I didn't care because I trusted David. And an hour later, he had all the girls around him, flipping no one. I said, I did what he said. Where am I going wrong? He said, it's probably my fault, but I should have told you to stick the potato down the front of your trunk. And I wasn't aware. Are you all going to clap that or what? So, I know I'm good. I kept going. Look, ladies and gentlemen, I went through the field. Look at me dancing for no apparent reason. I went through the field where I used to play football with my mate Johnny. I don't know if you know Johnny, but he was my mate. And one day we were walking through this field. It was the first time I've experienced this. And as a youngster, you don't really know how to take it. My dad was with us, and I'd seen 2 dogs in the park, first time, really close to each other. I don't want to paint pictures, I don't, because there's a lot of people who don't like that sort of thing. Conjoined, can I use that word? You know what I'm talking. From a distance it looked like one dog, you know, with 6 legs. And 2 heads. And I said, Dad, what are those dogs doing? Well, he wasn't bright, but my dad was flipping honest, and he told me the truth. He said, they're making puppies. I said, thank you, Daddy, and I appreciated that, because he could have said anything, because I was so naive. If he'd have said, the back one had sore paws and the front one was giving him a left arm, I would have taken it, I would have accepted it. I didn't know. They're rehearsing for the wheelbarrow race. Are they? I would have taken it, I didn't know. Front one's running out of petrol, back one's refueling. Really? I didn't know. I didn't know. So honesty was wonderful. And that night, my mate Johnny, he had a terrible toothache. If I'm honest with you, I think it was in his tooth. And he was in so much pain, he went to his mum and dad's room without knocking first. He caught his mum and dad celebrating like you do every other Christmas. Every third Christmas. He said, Mum and Dad. He just said 4. Mum and Dad. I said, Mum and Dad, what are you doing? And his dad was honest as well. Said, we're making babies. He said, well, that's brilliant. He said, but could you turn Mummy over? I'd rather have a puppy. So I kept walking. No. When you go back to where you grew up, you tend to look at it through rose-colored glasses. Am I right? Rose-colored contact lenses in your case, man. It had gone downhill. The pub where I was meeting my cousin Stephen was rough. Oh my God, there was a pig on the bar. It's an air freshener for a start. Dark and dank, dark and dank. All the curtains were drawn, right? The rest of the decor was real, I believe. And it was called, I'm not waiting for that. It was called the King's Legs. It obviously used to be the King's Arms, but they've lowered their standards. Yeah! You see, I think everybody got that. Apart from a few. So, but to get into the pub, you have to go in through the restaurant, because you'll know this, sir. In the olden days, it used to be a coach house. So the most important thing was the food, and the L was at the back of it, do you remember? So I'm walking through the restaurant, and I'll show you how I did it. Well, similar. And a fight broke out, flipping fight. And this bloke ran up towards me. I'll show you how he ran. There, proper running. Bloke in the back, I don't get it. Proper running. And this bloke hit me on the head with a prawn cocktail. Like that. He said, that's just for starters. So I went. You won't see any other comedian do crap like this. So I went into the bar. And there were 2 blokes arguing. One said, Harry, how come I've got 17 children and you haven't got any? He said, I used the safe period. He said, when's that then? He said, that's when you're on night shift. I'm waiting for my cousin Stephen. I was starving. I said, I'll have a sandwich while I'm waiting. Do you have sandwiches? And the bloke said, of course we have sandwiches. I said, what's your best seller? He said, the banjo. I said, what? He said, the banjo. I said, what's that? He said, it's a baguette. It's French for bread. And he said, we've got lettuce. He said, onion, cucumber, tomato, beef, ham and chicken, and lots of mayonnaise. I said, well, that's lovely. I said, why is it called banjo? He said, I don't know, but it is very popular. So I ordered one, and he gave it to me. I took a bite. All the mayonnaise went down my front. I went, oh, dear. So... that is probably the worst gag you'll ever hear in your life. So, my cousin Stephen, that's how bad it was. My cousin Stephen, she's only going for a week. My cousin Stephen, we'll get her in a minute. My cousin Stephen was a traffic cop, and he used to tell me lovely stories. And years ago, going back from Devon on your holidays, you got the A38. Who remembers the A38? Still there, but because of, the way things are, it's the A36 now. We've got that. So, nothing. So, he was patrolling that. A dear old lady, right, in a Mini Cooper, she had bifocals, the bottle tops. And 90 miles an hour past Columbton. You shouldn't go 90 miles an hour past Columbton. 300 miles an hour is recommended. 90 miles an hour, overtaking anything. He had to pull her over. He went, woo, woo, woo. No sirens in them days. I'm telling you. You'll forget most of this. Thank God it's on the DVD. And he pulled her over. And he went like that, because he was a good dancer. And she wound her window down, and he said to her, "Excuse me, madam, bifocals, little old lady. Are you aware how quickly you were driving?" She looked at her husband. She said, "What did he say?" She's deaf as well. She can't hear either. What is it? He said, "Are you aware how quickly you were driving?" "Oh, no. 90 miles an hour, madam." "What did he say?" 90 miles an hour, you stupid. "Oh, sorry. Could I see your license, please, madam?" "What is it?" "Give him your license." She gave the license. He said, "Oh my God. Don't believe it. You're from Tiverton." He said, "I used to go out with a girl from Tiverton. That was the worst sex of my life." What did he say? He said he thinks he knows you. Now, too late, not by yourself, someone will throw you a fish. So, the landlord and landlady were called Jean and John. She's called Jean, I can't remember his name. And they were there about 20 years ago when I used to frequent this pub. I used to go there as well. And after 20 years, she remembered me. I didn't want to make it too obvious. I thought I'll test her. And as she walked towards me, she'd been collecting glasses. Then she'd come back from Specsavers and was picking up the drinking vessels. And as some of you don't deserve me, as she was walking towards me, 20 years since I've seen her, I did this. I said, "Hello, Jean." 20 years, I'll never. She looked at me and she said, "Hello." What a memory. And she walked behind me, she patted me on the bottom, and I said, "Jane, by the way, I'm a married woman now." I thought she'd tell her. And she said, "It's only an experiment." And she patted me on the bottom again. This time she was firmer, and the firmness spread. I don't want to talk about it. And please, well, you're spoiling it. A lot of people don't want to know that. Her husband came up. I thought, he's seen this. I'm in trouble because he's a big bloke, you know, for his size. And he came up. One or two of you are getting this. And he walked behind me, a man walked behind, and he patted me on the bottom as well. "You're laughing, sir. You might be used to it. Never happened to me before." Wow. I said, "What's going on?" He said, "It's an experiment." It wasn't just me they were patting on the bottom. They were patting the bottoms of other customers, and the other customers were patting them back on the bottoms. And I said, "Before I leave this pub, possibly forever, what's going on here?" She said, "It's an experiment." I said, "What kind of experiment would this be?" She said, "We're thinking of turning this place into a tapas bar." She's singing, mate! Come on! Thank you. That might be the only joke you remember. Man there with a big furry dog, I said, "I love that furry dog." I said, "It's beautiful. It reminds me of the dog from the film Beethoven." He said, "That's because it's a St. Bernard, you idiot." What the hell's going on back there? Is that flipping? Okay. You know where your lifeboat is, do you? He said, "It's a St. Bernard, you idiot." I said, "Well, I think it's a beautiful dog." I didn't take umbrage. I said, "It's a beautiful dog. I like that little barrel it's got under its chin. I think it's really cute." He said, "That's because it's a St. Bernard. Are you a fool?" I didn't want to upset him. I said, "Would you like a drink? Can I get you anything?" He said, "I'd like a pint of lager, a bag of crisps, and..." "some water for the dog." I said, "Why the big pools?" He said, "It's a St. Bernard." Well, the couple... Remember when pubs used to have function rooms? I don't know if they do anymore, because I haven't been to a pub for ages, because to be honest, I'm too successful. But I believe... Hey, that's the only one he didn't laugh at. Pubs used to have function rooms. Well, down in Devon, where I'm from, which is lovely, come back, because we've got electric now. Where I'm from, the function rooms half the time was the skittle alley. right? And they're covered over the alley with a few planks. I'm all right. Yeah. And they used to have dances and everything there. And I was going to go to my first party at the function room. God, I was excited. And my mate David was 2 years older than me. I was 16 at the time, he was 18. And he was based in Devonport because he joined the Navy. Anyone been to Devonport, Plymouth? And he had, that night, he had what they call overnight leave. And I'm not a military person, but what I'm guessing is that he had leave overnight. That's what I'm guessing. And he had a Morris 1100, and I know it's lovely colour. It was primer, and it's a lovely colour now. Sort of rust with class, isn't it? And he drove from Devonport, Plymouth, to Exeter and picked me up. 43 minutes, 44 if there's traffic, and he picked me up. So we're going to this party. Oh my God, I'm so excited. And I'll tell you why. Because I was 16. I had a fabulous tank top. And don't laugh, they were wonderful. We'll face the other way because you're upsetting a lot of people now. Don't look at me. I had this fabulous tank top. Black. Orange, and here's the surprise, green. No one's seen that. And underneath, I had a round colour shirt, pink, and I had this on, and I looked absolutely fabulous. And he picked me up in the primer, 1100, and we were driving to the party, and I'm waving like this out the window. All right. No one there, I looked stupid. And we got to the function room, right, and they weren't letting us in, devastated. He'd driven all that, I'll tell you why, it was a fancy dress party. What they called it was a unique fancy dress party. You had to come as an original costume, no one else, and you had to register it. No one told us, we're standing there like this. They wouldn't let us in. My mate got really fed up, David, 2 years older than me. He said, I haven't come all this way, driven for 44 minutes. There was traffic. And not to be able to go in. He said, I'm going into this party. And he was determined because our friends were in there. This is what my mate Johnny, I told you about the football. He was in there and he was shy, naturally shy with women, but he was dancing with this woman. He was dressed as the Titanic. I think he thought it would help him break the ice, and he was in there. Some of this is desperate, isn't it? And isn't it a joy that I don't care? That's the joy. He was dancing with a woman dressed as Cleopatra. That's guesswork. Most of the night he had her ass in his hand. And they're getting on. All right, what a pity some of you are outside of this. So my mate said, I've had it. I'm going in. He took all his clothes off, went outside, got a leaf, tied it around him, and went in as Adam. They let him in. It was a big leaf. Top leaf. I wish I'd have thought of it. I'd have gone away with a privet, but he's in. How do you now? So I'm standing outside like Billy No Mates. I couldn't believe it. I thought, I'm not having this. Because even Dave, dressed as Adam, has found a girl dressed as Eve, and I'm just by myself. I thought, I'm not having it. So I took all my clothes off, threw it over my shoulder, and went as a petrol pump. So what now? God's sake. All right, I had to take a bit off the end, but they let me in. And I'm in, and everyone's getting on well. My mate, Johnny, dressed as Titanic, dancing with this girl, they're getting on well. Dave, dressed as Adam, with the girl, they're getting on well. I didn't get on with my girl that I was dancing with. She was dressed as an electric car, I'm dressed as a petrol pump. We had nothing in common. Come on! It's well put together, isn't it? I am fabulous, aren't I? So, and look, this is my first dance where there's like girls of the other sex there. And I don't know, I have no idea. Right, I was 16. I was about as savvy and clued up as 4-year-olds nowadays. Not a clue. And she said to me, she was a couple of years older, she said, what would your best girlfriend be like? I have no idea. I used the word from the Persuaders, an expression from the Persuaders. I even put the eyebrow up. I said she'd have to be sexy. I didn't know what sexy was. I said she'd have to be sexy. She licked her lips like that. I thought she was hungry. I bought her a sandwich. And disaster. She said, what else would your girlfriend have to... Well, I'm out of ideas now, I can't think of anything. So I'm thinking of home, I'm thinking of that. I said she'd have to be good at DIY. DIY! What a chat line! Well, she immediately made a bolt for the door. I thought... Mock me or clap, make your decision. She made a bolt for the door. I thought, that's a good start. Anyway, my mate, David, dancing with this girl dressed as Eve, Adam and Eve, and they start snogging. It's getting quite passionate. And suddenly he runs out the function room. She said, what's wrong? He said, I've got to go, my leaves up. So, it's fabulous, isn't it, what I'm doing, really? What a video, I can't dance. I met some lovely people, and the other night before my show, I went down to Scott's Bar. I don't know if you know Scott's Bar, it's called Scott's Bar. And there was a guy there, and he ordered 3 whiskies in 3 separate glasses, and that's unusual, isn't it? I said, why didn't you order a treble? Lover. I don't think that was his real name. He said, I've got 2 brothers, and they live in Australia. And when I drink 3 separate whiskies, and he drank them right down, he said it's like we're having a drink together. And I think that's lovely. And tonight I had a drink there before the show, and he ordered 2 whiskies in 2 glasses and drank just 2, not 3. I thought, oh my God. I said, are your brothers all right? He said, yes, they're fine. It's me that's given up drinking. So So I told him my news, which my mother imparted to me on the telephone, which is fabulous, because she don't own one, and she gave me this news today, ladies and gentlemen. I told my friend, and I'm going to share it with you, and it's coming up after this short break. Welcome back. Well, the good news is, ladies and gentlemen, I've written a book and I've just got myself a publishing deal. Thank you very much. It's called Logical Nursery Rhymes, because nursery rhymes don't make sense. Have you ever seen a cow jump over a moon? Of course not, it's ridiculous. Ever seen a dish run away with a spoon? Of course not, sir. What about you, sir? You ever seen Little Boy Blue come blow? All right, that's a bad example. The majority... That's on the DVD. The majority of nursery rhymes don't make sense, so I've written some logical ones for the kids. It's not fair. And the first one's called Humpty Dumpty. I hope you enjoy it. Sorry, mate. Logical nursery rhyme number 1, Humpty Dumpty. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses, all the king's men did absolutely nothing because it was only an egg. Now this next one is logical and vegetarian. Just because kids don't eat meat, why should they go with that nursery rhyme? It's a scandal. Logical and vegetarian, sing a song of sixpence, and tonight I'd like to do it for you with feeling. Can you stay there? Okay. All the people ready for bed. Look at the state. Someone's going to sit on that chair. Vegetarian and logical, sing a song of sixpence with feeling. Thank you. Just a wave. Sing. You've gone, haven't you? You're completely wasted now. Sing a song. Sixpence, yeah. Sixpence. A pocket full of rhyme. Fall. And 20 soybean. Soybean. I even make myself laugh. Soybeans baked in a pie. When the pie was open, silence. So I'll do another one. Two little dick birds sitting on a wall. One named Peter, one named Paul. Fly away, Peter. Fly away, Paul. Oh no, we can't. Your fingers. One more for This is not going to turn into applause, so just stop it. One more logical nursery. Goosey, goosey. I haven't got to the funny bit. Logical. Goosey. And shall I wander? There's a lady up in apoplexy. I'm fed up now. Goose. And when shall I turns in my lady's chamber. There I saw an old man. He waited and said his prayers. I took him by the left and threw him downstairs, committing murder. Here's a lovely old song, quite sad, hope it makes you feel good. Oh, soldier, soldier, would you marry me with your musket, your face, and your drum? Oh no, friend, I cannot marry you, 'cause you just don't turn me on. So off she went to the summer shop. I'm doing this on the Marco Polo. To the summer shop, and she bought some clothes that were very, very hot. Bought lingerie that was very, very hot. But the soldier put it on. Ladies and gentlemen, have you enjoyed yourselves tonight? I've loved it because it's just been rubbish.